Hello and welcome back to Starcastic Remarks alongside Chris. My name is Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. As always, thank you to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. That promo code there is THPN. The next time you are there to get a special little promo/offer from them. And if you are here on YouTube for the first time, click like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Starcastic Remarks. We have got quite a bit to talk about tonight here, Chris. But first off, how are things going? How are you doing? It's been a while since you've been on the show.
Great. I'm so good. I'm very busy. I'm really still wearing my work boots. So
Yeah, because you're having to get up at like 5 every morning and drive like 2 hours to wherever you're going, right?
not 2 hours, but yeah.
Close. Is it like an hour 45 or something?
No, it's like an hour 20, but it's still horrible.
Well, do you have to deal with traffic though, or is it all highway driving?
It's all highway driving.
See, that could be worse. Like you could be driving an hour and a half through.
It
like,
has
downtown
been worse. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were doing San Antonio for a while, right?
Yeah, that was worse.
Sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to bring up bad memories or anything like that or the terrible things, but it's just great to have you on. It's been a while, and honestly, I've kind of missed having you on here because again, I guess we'll just go ahead and start with it right off the top. The title of this episode, I entitled it, is Doom and Gloom or Everything's Fine. And I thought about the little cartoon dog with the fire all around him. I think you and I are of two different minds, and I'm a little bit... Huh?
Shocking.
Yeah, like that. Who would have ever thunk that? Stars are what? Three wins out of their last 15 or 18 games, something like that. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit. It's probably the last 3 out of 15 or 16, something like that. But the deal is the Stars ain't been playing very good. They've been sucking it up, right? And it feels like it was just one thing or another. There were some consistent things that were happening, but then there was always something that just popped up at each and every night that was even worse. So, the reason I wanted to talk with you about all of this is that I feel super doom and gloom about the Dallas Stars right now, and I think that my last episode that I did might have come across a little bit poorly. And the reason why I say that is because you gave me a little shout out on Twitter. You want to tell everyone what you were talking about there and why that came up?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of doom and gloom, not just from you. I mean, you're probably the most emphatic about it, but a lot of people are saying, hey, this team's not a title contender. They're not a true cup contender this year anymore. The roster's so much worse. They're playing so bad recently. And I mean, it's true they've been playing poorly recently. That is 100% correct. If they play in the playoffs the way that they played the last month, it's not going to be good for them. Clearly, 100% true. But to say that they're not a cup contender is just kind of crazy to me. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense at all. You look up until, what was it, 4 days ago, they were still second in the league, and now they're just a few points out of second in the league. They're in the top tier of the NHL. And you understand why people don't really think about it that way, because Colorado is just leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else right now. And you're in Colorado's division too. So you're really overshadowed, but you're still one of the best teams in the entire league. And another good thing to point out with that is a lot of people think that you're off track. Well, Robert Tiffin had a great tweet today. The Stars have the same amount of points right now that they had this time last year after the same number of games. They're in the exact same spot, and nobody was thinking that they weren't a cup contender last year. Everyone was 100% on board, even before Mikko Rantanen was added to the roster. So I think it's definitely hyperbolic in that case. And it's also the fact that you didn't really get these long slumps in the Pete DeBoer era, really. And I think part of that is just obviously Pete's a great coach, and his system also didn't really allow it too. I mean, the way the Stars played last season, it was a lot easier to be consistent in that system because there was one thing to do, right? Like you follow Pete's system, you do what he says, you win a lot of hockey games. And that is 100% true. And now when they're playing with Gulutzan, he talked before the season, he wants to add a little bit more creativity, add a little bit more leeway in this system and let the guys do what they think is best for their play style or the way their line is going and stuff like that. There's more room to fall further in that kind of system, in my opinion. And then my big point in the tweet was just, of course, they're losing all these games right now. What is there to play for? And if you look at it, they're the dog days of the season. They're a few weeks away from a long midseason break, which is the first they've had something like that in 10 years since the last Olympics that they went to, over 10 years. And they're not going to catch Colorado. I mean, period. It would take an insane collapse for the Stars to catch Colorado. And it's almost the same for the Mammoth. For the Mammoth to catch up to the Stars and the Wild would take something mammoth to happen. Ha, good one. So you're really only playing right now the rest of the season. This is January. We have several months still. And the only thing they're playing for is one extra game on home ice in round 1, potentially, if it goes 7. That's not a lot. That is a tough thing to get your mind right for, especially when no matter where the Stars really finish in this regular season, no one's going to care. Like, this team has been consistently in the playoffs, consistently in the conference finals. They've done essentially everything they can in the regular season outside of winning the President's Trophy. That's the only thing that they could do that they could really put a stamp on, is have the President's Trophy banner, which I think is still a big deal. That's not going to happen because of Colorado. So nothing you do in the regular season is going to be good. The only thing that can happen now is you get hurt or you win home ice. That's essentially nothing. So it just makes total sense to me why these guys are having trouble finding the motivation to play. And I think the Boston game that we saw last night is a perfect example of that. I mean, they got embarrassed on that road trip. Really hard, long road trip. Totally embarrassed on. They come back. Mikko's out to put a cherry on top of all of it. And they come out and they play the most dominant hockey game that maybe they've played all season and just roll over a really good Bruins team that's been hot. So that's kind of my whole argument to get people off of the ledge and to stop what I think is really a foolish thing of saying that they're not a cup contender. They're absolutely a cup contender.
The reason why I said that was for a couple of reasons, and you're making me feel better. So keep talking. I like all the things that you're saying. But the one thing that sticks out to me that you said is we didn't see long stretches of, or for lack of a better term, a slump under the Pete DeBoer era. And what worries me about all of this is that we can see this side of the team in the playoffs. And I know everyone, it's always ups and downs through every season, and I get that. But what if the Stars go on break and they just kind of, barely make it into the break and barely surviving? And then they come out of the break, they're just absolutely ridiculous. They win every single game 10-1 or whatever. And then you start to see those things starting to pop up again towards the end of April. That's why I'm worried about this team and where they're at, is because we did not see this version of the Dallas Stars under Pete DeBoer. And to be fair, all the things that you talked about, and the fact that it was, for again, lack of a better term, it was very black and white with Pete DeBoer's system. Is like, if this happens, you go do this. If this happens, you do this. And it was his way or the highway. That's what it was. And with Glen Gulutzan, it's very much in the gray area. My worry is I obviously that the black and white version of coaching didn't work for the Stars, and Jim Nill didn't think that Pete DeBoer was going to be able to take them to that final level. I'm just worried that this version, let's be honest, the way they were playing at the beginning of the season, was better than anything that we saw under the Pete DeBoer era. So I guess the way you could look at this is it's high risk, high reward, because that's what I mean, that's what Jim Nill did. He's rolling the dice with Glen Gulutzan, and he's saying, okay, we're gonna Edmonton Oilers this thing every once in a while. We might have a really terrible slump like we're seeing now, but we could also see this team get hot at the right time. And the thing that I'm worried about is that we're going to see that worst slumping team at the worst part of the time in the playoffs.
Right, and I think that's a valid concern. I'll rebut one of the things you said. We did see it. We saw it one time under Pete DeBoer. His very last 8 games of the regular season, lost every single one. The team looked horrible. I mean, that is when they look the exact same to how they look right now. To me, is the end of last season. And
but I still don't feel. But we had a lot of excuses there because there were a ton of injuries at the end of that season. And what I feel is different about what we've seen the last month and a half, I guess 5 weeks, we have gotten dominated by teams. I don't feel like we got fully dominated as much under the Pete DeBoer era. That's just again that I have no
Right.
stats to back that up. That is just purely watching every single game, watching what's happened in every single game. And that word has been stuck in my head for the last month and a half, whether it's been the game that we just saw the Stars play against Boston or some of the games we've seen recently. Is it feels like we have been dominated, and it's been in a lot of aspects of the game, whether it's the penalty kill, the power play, our goaltending for a while was pretty much the only thing that's been fairly consistent. But even then, Jay Gottinger has kind of struggled the last week and a half, and we saw a little bit more of Casey DeSmith over this period of time.
I'm gonna pause you on the getting dominated thing. We've only lost since the Christmas break, which is when it all kind of started. We've only lost 4 games by more than 1 goal. That's not including any empty netters or anything like that. And there have been some absolute stinkers in those 4 games. And in kind of the big games you'd want them to show up in too. The Lightning game, the Canes game, those feel really bad because you want them to play up to those kind of games, But a lot of these games, I mean, they were close on and just barely lost them. I mean, you think the Mammoth game, that was a really great game where Vemelka kind of stole that one. The Sharks game was really good. They kind of just blew it there. The Chicago one as well to start the year. That was on a back-to-back even. I thought they played well in that one for the most part. So I don't really think they have been dominated, but your vibes thing is more correct. Pete DeBoer's teams were almost never dominated. I mean, even 4 within a month span would have been really strange for a Pete DeBoer team. And I think it's because of that kind of strict system that we were talking about before. That's difficult for that to happen when they're able to do something so systematically to continue to get correct scoring chances and to keep defensive pressure up for the most part, especially in the regular season is when the man-to-man defense kind of worked the best for Pete DeBoer. But I don't think it's really been domination. And I think it just looks so similar to the end of last regular season. It's just a motivation thing to me. I think there's nothing for these guys to play for right now. That's a problem. I mean, they need to have a little bit more pride in the hockey they're playing, I think, and to think about the longer goal. Like, I think the best way to kind of get over these kind of dog day things is to really always be working on something, And right now, they're not really working on anything specific in the game, at least on the outside. It doesn't look like it. They're just trying to win them. And I mean, that's it seems like an abstract goal when you're in an 82 game season to me.
I will disagree with you that. How do I put this the right way? I don't think that this slump that we've seen for the last month and then the end of Pete DeBoer's era and the regular season is the same. It didn't feel the same to me. Again, just it's just an eye test thing, and it just when we have been playing in some of these games, Chris, that there have been numerous times, and I get that there is the whole motivation thing, and I'm not discounting that at all. But at some point you gotta you just kind of have to find the motivation to do it.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm saying. That motivation's got to come from something else. Like you can't just
right,
say we're trying to win games. I mean, you've got to have something separate. And I think that's what Goalie was doing. He was talking about in during that road trip. He was trying to set it up like a playoff series. Like let's pretend this is game one and so forth. Like he's trying to do something like that. I just think it's really hard to trick your brain to kind of do stuff like that. So it needs to be more within the game goals, I feel like. So whether that's, hey, we're gonna get 30 shots this game, we don't care how it happens, or hey, we're the worst hitting team in the league, we're gonna check harder this game. That's the goal for this game, and we're gonna try to win the hockey game. I think it takes more than just let's try to win when there's nothing to play for and you're in the dog days. And for a team that's only goals are playoff oriented.
one of the things I'm not going to question is the effort. I feel like that the effort and the desire has always been there. I don't think that has ever faltered. The word that I kept using over this whole stretch, Chris, is just the word compete. And I think that is a different word than effort, and it's a different word than motivation or anything. That was the thing that frustrated me the most. Is they just they didn't seem to care. I know that they cared. Obviously, they're hockey players and they do this for a living and they want to win. But it just didn't feel like they cared by the actions that we were seeing on the ice. And that's where go ahead.
There's just clearly different levels to it, like you're a different kind of locked in for a Friday night 7 p.m. start game with a packed house than you are versus a Sunday matinee in the middle of the day. I mean, yeah 1 o'clock game. Like it's different. Like no one's saying you're not trying to win the game, but there's definitely a different level of locked in. And I think when you're in this position the Stars are in that I've laid out, it's like it's hard to get yourself in that mindset that other teams are going to find themselves in. I mean, the Sharks are battling to get into a playoff spot for their first time in the Wild for the franchise. I mean, that's something that locks you in even further. So that's where I think the problem is. And I think it's going to take outside things. And I think it is partly a coaching situation. You got to find a way to direct them. And that's tough for this coaching staff to do because they haven't been with this team. I mean, these guys the past 3 to 5 years, all the actual goals have been in the playoffs. So it's hard to find ways to get them to lock in the same way on the regular season games. And that's the other thing that why the last season's end of season skid comes to mind for me is that as soon as the playoffs started, boom, I mean, locked in. It's a different thing. Now these games matter. This is what they were playing the whole season for. They're ready. And they locked in and had a crazy upset with 2 insanely big injuries, and they still took care of Colorado, who proved this regular season they're an even better team than people thought they were in the playoffs. So that's really what it is. I agree. It's not an effort thing. It's not that they're not trying. There's different levels to being locked in, and they've got to find a way to take it to another level.
Is that the word you would use? Is locked in rather than compete?
Yeah, I can't think of a good word for it. I
don't know how to describe it. Right.
They're competing on board battles and stuff like that. Like when they get in these individual situations, yeah, they're giving it their all. It's just I feel like that locked in nature goes even to shots. I mean, if you're painting the glass, maybe you hit that one on net next time if you're more locked in the entirety of the game. It's a tough thing to kind of put your finger on what it exactly is, because it's not really effort. It's locked in makes the most sense to me.
The deal though with me though, Chris, is it over the course of I guess you could say the entire season. There were games early on where we didn't deserve to win, but we found a way to win them with different ways. Whether sometimes it was the penalty kill came up huge, or Goaltending was really big in a game, or the power play came out of nowhere and took over the game. And what it's felt like in the last month is that we've been the second best team on the ice. Like, and that's the thing that frustrates me more than anything, is because I know this team is better than 30 other teams in the NHL, I guess you could say. I'm not sure we're better than Colorado right now. But I guess the thing that I'll ask you about this is it bad that the Stars are not able to keep that same mindset that Colorado is having right now? Like what is Colorado doing in order to stay on this ridiculous run that they are, that the Stars can learn from and maybe apply? Because I think something different it feels different about this year with Colorado. Like there's something about this team that I know everyone's like, oh well, they're going to win the President's Trophy, and the President's Trophy curse is going to be a thing, and they're going to be out in the first round. I don't believe that. Not this year, not the way that they've played. How have they been able to be so consistent? What can the Stars do to learn from that?
They can't. They're pissed. They're pissed that they lost to the Stars, and they are being motivated by anger this entire season. That's really what I think it is. And I mean, you go listen to that the interview from McKinnon after they lost, and he's just like, I don't understand. We lost to this team. They're missing two of their best players, and we can't beat them. I mean, he was fuming then, and I think they're carrying that into this year and using it effectively, and they're running away with this regular season trophy. And everything's clicking for them at the same time. I mean, Nate just being so good with McKinnon, no one could really see that coming. It didn't look like that was going to be the case the end of the last regular season and into the playoffs. It wasn't good.
Clicking.
I mean, it was fine. It was what you thought it would be, but man, it is another level. Nature's just turning into a superstar playing next to McKinnon. And then
Wedgie, who would have thought Wedgie?
Fantastic. They have two backup goaltenders, and they're playing both like starters. I don't think I can call them backups anymore because man, they are insane. And yeah, their D is great. Everything's great. They're not really getting injured the same way everyone else is. I mean, everything's just coming up daisies for them.
So wow, I'm surprised you said two backup goalies. I don't think either one of them are backup goalies, right? Maybe Wedgie is a backup.
Wedgwood's getting paid $1.5 million, so
no, that's
he was signed as a backup goalie at the very least. I think.
Yeah, he was
probably proven this year that he's a starter at least for the time being.
Yes, agreed. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull. I think this is a career year for him. I think that.
Well, for sure.
I'm not sure that he's going to.
Even if this is a career year, if he drops back 10%, he's still a starting goalie somewhere.
That's fair. I mean, there are a lot of teams that could use a better option. Sorry, a random thought. Dan Vladar in Philadelphia. I don't know if you've been watching him, but he was the backup in Calgary for forever, behind a couple of good goalies there. And goodness gracious, he has played well over the course of the season. I think lately he's kind of been in a little bit of a dip, but he's one of the major reasons why Philadelphia is even like relevant this year. So
are they?
They're relevant. That like we all thought that Philadelphia was going to be down in the bottom of the East.
Well, they're relevant insofar as everybody in the East is relevant because there's no separation.
Fair. I mean, Boston is relevant right now. What they had won 6 in a row before we beat them last night. So, okay. Let me ask you, and this is probably a very loaded question. What is the thing that the Stars need to fix the most? Because over this, they seem to fix everything in the last game, and I can't really complain about how they played in the last game. Although it would have been nice not to give up a power play goal. That would have been nice. But is there just like one specific area that the Stars need to get better in? Because I have an answer, but I don't know if you and I have the same answer. I'm curious what you think.
There's several areas they could get better in, but if we're talking the reason that the slump happened, I don't think it's anything hockey related. It's all mental, in my opinion. And that's why I'm not worried about it at all. Because this team is going to finish second or third in the division. We know they're going to have the gauntlet to play through in the playoffs. And I'm confident they're going to show up for it whenever that happens. Like, they need to get back to what they were doing pre-Christmas break after this Olympic break, especially to really feel good about what they're doing and to hopefully integrate whatever trades happen. But I'm confident this team is going to have whatever mental issues are happening right now. They're going to take care of themselves when these games become as important as they'll become in April.
I've got two things that I think need to be a little bit better. The first thing is that I think our best players need to be our best players. And let me rephrase that by saying not our elite players. Our elite players have been elite and they have been very good for us. And I'm talking obviously Robo, Wyatt, and Mikko Rantanen. Like they have been absolutely everything, and that they've been categorized as in being in the top of the league. Where it needs to come more from is a little bit Rope hints, although he still had a decent year. But Matt Duchene, and like those middle to second line tier guys, those are the guys that really need to step it up a little bit more. And I think that is what's missing. And Natalie, I don't think this is what you meant necessarily by depth, but depth in terms of those second, not the tertiary guys, the secondary scoring guys that are expected to score, not the Foxes, not the Blackwells.
That's what it is.
Yes. Those are the things that I think needs to be fixed more than anything. We need those, especially Matt Duchene. Like maybe he's sucking it up so bad in the regular season right now in terms of just stats that he will be lights out in the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping.
I did think about that. I will take that trade. But the Duchene thing is really hard because he had the concussion too. And that's just such a weird injury to come back from. Like that's just horrible. It's really difficult to do that. And he lost his line mates, which if we remember the last 2 years, that was what was so important. I mean, Duchene was really good when he was playing with Marchment and Seguin, and he lost both of them. I mean, we thought he was going to be able to stick with Seguin, and we just had to find one guy to plug with. And no, he's got to find a completely different way to do it. And he's not playing like he needs to play center. I think that's been obvious with the experimentation that they've had on the wings. But if he's playing third line center, he doesn't have the talent around him to make the plays that he needs to make to have an impact on the score sheet the same way that he was able to last season. So that's just a really tough situation. I hope it is figured out either with trade deadline stuff, which totally could be. I think that might be good. A lot of the people that Stars are looking at are those grindy or third line guys, the guys you like to talk about how your third line, when Kadri's on your third line, that's an amazing. A guy like Coleman on your third line, that's amazing. So if you can find guys like that, I think Duchene can find ways to play with those players, especially if they've got some skill. I mean, that's what Marchment was. Marchment's like a amazing third line guy because he does those kind of grindy things and he has the offensive skill to go with it. So something like that, heck, just go get Marchment if Columbus collapses.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, Marchment 50% retain, I'll take it. So I'm hoping that kind of fixes itself too, but yeah, it's tough for Duchene with the concussion is the main thing for me. But I think your point is dead on though. The depth scoring is non-existent for this team the same way it was last year, and I think that's really what people are thinking of when they're talking about the depth. Because as far as fourth line grinders go, I mean, you got them in droves right now, especially with how Ritzkovian and Ernie have turned out. Like, yeah, those are good fourth line guys. Obviously, Ernie's dropped out a little bit, but that's just because you have so many of them. I mean, Nate Bastian earned his spot back after the conditioning stint he did in Texas. So it's not really your fourth line depth. It's your secondary scoring stuff, and it just hasn't really happened the same way. And that's what we thought when the season started. I mean, we lost. It was Granlund,
60
Dadonov,
goals,
and Marchment. Yeah, that was the 60 goals we talked about, and they lost that. And unfortunately, with that, they lost Seguin and Duchene too, which was probably another 40 or 50. So it's a lot of goals to try and make up.
And I think this is where the Stars desperately miss Tyler Seguin.
Yeah, like that sucks so bad.
Like people keep talking about it as just like, is he done? Is he done? He just tore his ACL after having hips. Or I'm like praying that he's not done because
He
just
imme-
for his own sake.
he immediately
Because
got surgery and started doing rehab. He's not done.
right, I'm just like I don't think he's done, but but yeah. Anyway, this team desperately misses a Tyler Sagan type player.
Yep.
Honestly. But I'm gonna throw one more name in that same hat, but on the back end, someone who I've been a little bit I don't want to say disappointed with, but
I'm
because I
disappointed.
can't really be disappointed because he also had to deal with a really terrible injury, and that's Thomas Harley. He's taken a step back just because of the injury that he took earlier in the season. He was out for 6
Right.
weeks. He came back and he has not been the same player ever since. I think he has 2 goals on the season. That's it.
Yes.
So that is incredibly low for someone like Thomas Harley, who you would expect to eclipse 10 first off, and maybe even push for 20, considering the season that he had last year.
Yeah.
So they need more from him. And you know what? I'll throw him in here too because we expected more from him. But Nils Lundqvist, uh, we keep waiting for him to get here and to push a little bit more, and that's his part of his game. That is his strength, is the offensive side, and we haven't really seen that from either one of those guys. And I mean, they've both dealt with injuries once again this year.
Yep. Yeah. The Harley thing is more concerning to me. He didn't have the same. I think a concussion is a lot harder to deal with than what Harley's had to deal with, which is it was just a normal leg injury, I believe. I mean, I say
Similar to
normal. I
what
mean,
Bishop's
his
dealing with right now.
yeah, his knee got screwed up. Well, Bishop broke his. Harley didn't,
Yeah,
so not quite as bad. But yeah, he really. It just looks like he doesn't have the same drive
pizzazz.
to produce on the offensive side that he did last year, you know? Like he really when Miro went down and he kind of took control, it gave him more confidence to play on the offensive side of the puck more as well. And he just doesn't have that at 5-on-5, and he's not getting enough time on the power play really to see anything. So yeah, he's got to try more on the offensive side. Like we know he's trying to get right on the defensive side right now, and that's where his struggles have been since coming back from the injury. But pushing the offense, I think, is gonna help his defense too. It'll help his confidence and make him comfortable with knowing where the puck's gonna go and everything like that. So yeah, his drop off has been really tough for these guys too.
This is also included in the scoring depth in a way. I'm taking a little bit of a left turn, but not a huge one. The thing that you've seen a lot online on social media is the Stars 5-on-5 scoring. I think there's some smoke there where the Stars could be better at 5-on-5 scoring. Now, I'm not saying that they're terrible at it. I'm not at all. I think they're top 10 in the NHL actually in terms of 5-on-5 scoring. But what I think they do is I think they rely a lot, and at least have relied a lot during the regular season, on the power play a little bit too much. And Mikko Rantanen and Wyatt Johnson have just been absolute, wizards in terms of being able to get all of those points and doing what they have done for the regular season already. So that is an area of the scoring depth that I think could be better for the Dallas Stars, and in terms of just getting a little bit more scoring depth in a specific aspect of the game as 5-on-5.
Yeah, I think part of that is it's kind of carryover from the power play too, because the Stars have been so good on the power play, and you look at the power play goals; they're almost all just gorgeous pieces of passing and playmaking. And I think they try and do the same thing a little bit too much 5-on-5, where you want to do more of what you did against Boston and just go to the net, shoot the puck, get something going. And they're talking about this on the DLLS podcast. Like sometimes when you attack the net, that opens up those passes that you were looking for before that weren't really working 5-on-5. So I think that's definitely they're leaning too far on their creativity and their playmaking ability, and they need to do more of just go play hockey.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, and we can talk a little bit about the Boston game if you would like to. What did you see in the Boston game that might make you think that they're going to be able to turn a corner? Because honestly, like the Washington game that we won, I didn't think that was like a bridge to them being able to play a little bit better or start playing better. I was proven right, but the Boston game felt different. What did you see in the Boston game that maybe we hadn't seen over the last month or month and a half that's different?
Well, they got 3 power plays in one period, so that helped
That helps.
jumpstart it.
Right.
But then, yeah, it was attacking the net, like I said. I mean, Esa Lindell scoring. I mean, he's shooting. He got the puck and he shot, and it kind of went in. And then Justin Ritzkovian didn't even shoot the puck; he kicked it, and he got a goal somehow too. So I mean, it's just the scrappier stuff like that they need to go to the net and shoot the dang puck. And like, yes, the pretty plays that they make, they work a lot of the times, and that's what was carrying them through that crazy month that they went through before the Christmas break. Is everything they tried worked, and that's why it just looked so easy for them. Like everything was working. Now that it's not working, you gotta go crash the net, shoot the puck, and get some dirty goals, and make it look a little bit ugly sometimes. And I think that's what they did better in the Boston game. Boston also played terrible. That's worth pointing out. But it needs to be something that you build on, and doing it without Mikko should be something that you get to build on too. And that, I mean, he's a big presence on the ice. It feels a lot of the time. I mean, you go back to the Game 7 against the Avalanche. That game, it felt like the Stars were waiting around for Mikko to do something. Well, Mikko actually did do something in that game, and he won the game for them. But that can't be the way that you play to consistently win, especially in the regular season. You can't just wait around for your big dog to take care of business. I mean, you got to push play yourself. And obviously, they couldn't do that against the Bruins. The big dog wasn't there, and they took care of it easily.
So I actually looked it up. The goals for 5-on-5 in the regular season, the Stars are 13th, but they have 104, and 10th place has 107. So it's not like they are not
solid
within
middle, upper middle of the road.
Exactly. I mean, it's literally what's funny is, can you guess who second is? I don't think you'll ever guess this. Who is second? Because I think everybody would be able to guess who's first.
I think I would never guess this. I'm gonna say Sharks.
No, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
right. I know, right? Considering the season
their defending must stink.
Yeah. Well, and then of course Colorado's first. They've got 138, and then Toronto's got 116. So again, just another ridiculous stat that shows the ridiculousness that the Avalanche are having. Okay. Anything else about the recent month slump or anything you want to add? Because I do want to ask you about a couple of other things.
Yeah, the slump might continue. I mean, going just into the break, maybe. I think a trade would definitely break that up, and maybe that gets you a couple more games if Nil feels pressured into doing that. I mean, we know Robert reported that he prefers to wait until after the Olympics, obviously, to see whatever injuries happen. There's a lot of Stars going to the Olympics, so that would be good knowledge to have. But the market's, I mean, at least starting to shake. I mean, you saw Anderson and you saw Kiefer Sherwood, two guys who the Stars were kicking tires on at the very least, got dealt already. So you don't want to let the market pass you by. But I agree with what Nil said, and that you'd rather wait. So I would expect the subpar play to continue pretty much until the break. And I think the break happens, they come back, and it's a different team, at least for a little bit.
Are you happy that, and this is actually what I was going to ask you about. I was going to ask you about Rasmus Anderson, and Kiefer Sherwood, who I never would have guessed would be going to the Sharks. So obviously the Sharks are like, hey, we got this phenom superstar kid who's probably going to win the Hart Trophy, and I mean, let's get him a little bit of help and have a bodyguard. I mean, that's basically what Kiefer Sherwood is. He's a bodyguard who just hits everything in sight.
Yeah,
are you happy?
slick team. I mean, that's what he's
Yes.
going to do.
Are you happy that the Stars passed now that you see the packages that both Vegas put up for Rasmus Anderson and the Sharks put up for Kiefer Sherwood?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Kiefer Sherwood's having a career year for him. He's a solid player. He's a heavy guy, which is something the Stars don't have. Again, Gully talked about adding 1% more physicality. Stars are still dead last in hits by a good amount. So
We
that's
have not seen that.
right. So that kind of up physicality hasn't really been happening. And he would help you and would hopefully help drag you into the fight a little bit more too. But it's not worth, what was it? It was 2 second-round picks, I believe. So
I think so.
Not worth that. And then the Anderson one, Anderson I wasn't fully sold on to begin with. He's the best defender on the market for sure. But the type of defender he is he's an offensive guy, likes to move the puck, likes to score goals. I don't know that's necessarily what the Stars want in that spot. Because I think if you get the guy like that, then you're really wanting to play Miro with either Harley or Anderson and Lindell with the other, to kind of balance it out. And this team doesn't really, they don't build the attack through the blue line. So I just don't, I don't think it would have been really a good fit. The way Chris Tana was a perfect fit for the Stars a few years ago, I think Anderson would not have been that. But now Whitecloud that actually went the other way, I think that would be fantastic as a third pair guy to slot in for that spot where you're saying, I mean, Nils Lundqvist and Ilya Lyubushkin are trying to get taken off this team somehow, seemingly. And Whitecloud would fill that spot. You'd never notice him. He'd be fantastic. He'd get pucks out of his own end. He'd defend fine. I think that would be a really solid third pair guy to pick up. I would definitely ask about him if the Stars get a chance.
And he's had a lot of playoff experience. I don't remember if he was on the cup winning team.
He was on the cup winning team.
Okay, so that would be a huge thing as well. I mean, I'm telling you that the whole cup winning thing is a major thing. I know some people discount that, but this team has got nobody except for Mikko Rantanen who's won a cup.
Tyler Seguin, still on the roster.
What? Okay, currently able to play and put on a pair of skates and skate. That's what I meant. But I am so glad you brought up Whitecloud because that, especially like Cole, I'm gonna throw Coleman in there. I think the Stars need to go after both of those guys, both agree. Blake Coleman and they need Colin Whitecloud because I think he's very underrated for what the Stars can need. And that is something that the Stars have been missing is someone in their middle six that can score just a little bit more. I mean, we talked about scoring depth. We're not really getting it from Duchesne. Tyler Seguin is out. Obviously, Marchman's gone. We're not really getting it from Maverick Bourque, who we were kind of he's been okay. Not bad, but not good. Just not up to maybe where our expectations, our hopes were. For him, bringing in a guy like Blake Coleman, I think checks like every single box that I think this team needs. He's got the physicality. He is a veteran, so that's exactly what you need on a team looking to win the cup. You've also got a guy who, I mean, that's an intangible, but there's nobody who would have more motivation than Blake Coleman to win a Stanley Cup for his home state. I mean, other than if you went out and got Steven Nason or maybe Seth Jones, but like that's a little intangible thing that would be fun to talk about. But and then also the physicality. The physicality aspect is definitely a part of Blake Coleman's game that he's had since he was a New Jersey Devil before he got traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning and won back-to-back cups with them. So
I think that would really kind of it would correlate really well with the CC Granlund trade that the Stars made last year that worked out so well for them. I mean, getting two guys to fill holes. I mean, they're not necessarily the home runs. Granlund turned out to be fantastic for the Stars, but they're guys that fill holes in the lineup, and I think they would do that really well.
Yes, Tallis Lizzie. I'm sorry. I meant Zach Whitecloud. Did I say Colin Whitecloud?
You said Colin, and I didn't want to correct you because I was afraid I was going to be wrong. So I'm a coward.
Well, it's all right. Zach Whitecloud is who I'm talking about. But I watched the DLS guys talk about their potential trade targets, and one of the other names that they floated out there, I don't really know enough about him, is Justin Schultz. Do you know enough about Justin Schultz?
No.
No, Falk. Sorry. Falk.
Yeah.
In St. Louis. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got Justin Schultz from. My goodness.
You're just making up names tonight.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But anyways.
I know of Justin Falk. I mean, I think he'd be similar to a Whitecloud. I like Whitecloud better because we saw him play against the Stars in that conference final. I thought he was fantastic in that series. So I'm more familiar with Whitecloud. But, I mean, Falk is just, I mean, he's Joe defenseman. Is really, I mean, that's what Whitecloud is to me too. You know.
When Bischel gets back, do you think he is going to? He's going to take that top four role that he had before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I asked that is because after Rasmus Anderson got traded, there's not really a whole lot of guys on the market that you would consider to be a quote unquote top four defenseman, which a lot of people right now are arguing that the Stars need. Excuse me. They need, a lot of people are saying, okay, they need a top six forward and they need a top four defenseman.
Which who doesn't?
Preferably right-handed. Yeah, and like we've tried to put, little band-aids on those holes with Dumba, and we saw how that worked out. And then obviously the same thing with Lyubushkin, who kind of worked out, but he was playing way outside of the role that he should have been. I don't know if there's like another top four defenseman guy that can come in and play 18, 19 minutes a night. So that's why I think that Bish is probably you could basically be a trade deadline acquisition in a way, like right before the Olympic break. I think the rumor is he's probably going to be able to get into a couple of games and just to see where he's at. That will be interesting to see how he's able to move around on that knee.
Yeah, I mean, I think he will slot in as a four, and we're gonna have four lefties in our top four. But I mean, if those are your best guys, that's who you're gonna go with. And we may not see that till playoffs too. Like you may see them broken out with Harley on the left and Bischel on the third pair on the left, just because you want the pairs to work out a little bit better. But I think when the chips are on the table and you want to go with your four best guys, I think your four best guys are Miro, Lindell, and Harley and Bischel. And I agree. I don't think there's anyone that I would 100% prefer as my number four over Bischel that's still actually available on the trade market right now. And that doesn't have term. I mean, that's the other thing that's difficult for the Stars this season, is that if you've got term, the Stars probably aren't going to get you, because I mean, I'm pretty confident they're still going to sign Robo, unless some kind of Panarin sign and trade happens. That's the only way I could see Robo not coming back and us getting something with term at the trade deadline.
Speaking of, I'm glad you brought up Robo, because that's a little bit of a side tangent, but I do want to talk about Panarin here in a second. Robertson just switched his agent to somebody who is very familiar with the Dallas Stars, is the same agent as several of their players, including Thomas Harley and Mikko Rantanen. So speculate on that. What does that mean? Does that mean that negotiations are going well? Does that mean that Robertson just wants to get something done and he's tired of the other agent, his old agent, just telling him to wait? I mean, read into it too much. What do you think that means?
Yeah, right. Read into it too much is the correct thing. I have no idea. I mean, it could mean a lot of things. The first thing my mind went to is that means he wants to stay. I mean, he signed with an agent that has proven to get deals done with nil and has worked with other Stars players who have also shown that they
Major
want to stay
deals.
in Dallas. So I really think it's more he's proving kind of to management too. I mean, I don't think it's any kind of coincidence that this kind of happens when trades start getting thrown around and you start seeing Robo's name in the trade rumor reports from the sketchy fan sites. So
The AI
right,
blog
the AI,
posts, yeah,
exactly.
all over Facebook, yeah.
So I think it's partly a signal that, hey, I want to sign. I'm gonna hire somebody that I know you work well with, and I assume that he enjoys working well with him. He signed some pretty good deals with with that agent for the Stars, so I think it's a good sign as far as Robertson staying.
Okay, Artemi Panarin. Obviously, the Rangers released their "Hey, we're retooling, not rebuilding" letter, and
Crazy letter, by the way. That's wild.
yeah, no,
That
they're
was
the
a white
Rangers.
flag. They waved it.
They're the Rangers, Chris, not the Wild. But okay. Anyways, go ahead, Cy. Go ahead. I thought that the letter was weird too. I agree with you. But anyways, we can talk about that another time. What I really want to talk about is Artemi Panarin. All right. And here's the thing about Artemi Panarin. Would I love for him to be a Dallas Star? Heck to the absolute yes. That would be awesome. I would love that. Okay, he's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest players that we've seen over the last decade or so. But my thing is where does he fit in within the lineup? Right? He is a bread maker. Okay, he passes the puck. He gives the puck up, which is what Duchesne does. So, do we really need two guys probably that would play on the same line together? That's all they do is they just pass the puck. So it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, and that's regardless of if the Stars, even have the assets. Like I'm not even considering the assets that Stars may or may not have right now. It just Panarin doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. It would be cool, but it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
He's a left winger on a team that doesn't have a lot of left wingers. Like, I know he's past first, but I mean, people say that about Mikko Rantanen too, and he has a pretty dang good shot, So he
would finishes all his passes.
Lineup, and he would probably really the only way I actually see the Panarin thing happening is the first one is he really has a limited number of teams that he'll accept a trade to. And there's 3, and they're all keeping the price low, and the Rangers want to get something rather than nothing, and it ends up just being a first and a prospect, and that's it. And it's a sign and trade. I think that's unlikely. I think even if it's only 3 teams on the list, someone's gonna sell the house to try and get him. The real thing that I think is most likely to happen is that the Stars actually decide, yeah, Robertson is gonna ask for $14 million. We don't want to give him that. And you do Robertson and Bork for Artemi Panarin on a sign and trade. I think that's the most likely way that you get Panarin on this team. So,
but for a guy that's 34,
but I also said there was no way the Stars were going to get Mikko Rantanen. So,
I just but for a guy that's 34, you think it would take Robertson and Bork?
Yes, because he's scoring 56 points in 50 games on a bad Rangers team. Yes.
No, I don't.
And he's an absolute different player. I mean, we were all defending Robertson for the Team USA things. I still think it's correct to defend him there, but the pushing of the play argument is still correct. I think on his own, Jason Robertson does not have the same impact on a game as other players who score similar points to him do. So if the Stars are playing well and his line mates are playing well, Robertson can really shine. And I think last night is a
perfect example,
convenient example for me. But they're already up big, and then he comes in, scores 2 goals late, and he's the first star of the game. Great. But Artemi Panarin is a guy that can really push play and can drive the team in a way that Robertson does not.
See, I'm not so sure. I see where you're coming from. I'm not so sure I fully agree with that though. So okay, is there anybody that you would that we haven't talked about that you think the Stars should maybe go and take a penny on from any team that's currently not going to make the playoffs?
I think it's going to be more of a depth piece this year, and it's going to be more guys who have some more grit. So if you can find a winger that can play with a little bit of tenacity, the Colemans, the Sherwoods, someone like that, Neil can find somebody who is kind of underground, who people might not even think is available, and might be able to snag them. So that's really what I think is going to be added to this team. And if you look at how they continue losing in the conference finals, I think there's a good argument that a little bit more grit, even if it's down in the lineup, could help you a ton in those situations. So yeah, I think it's going to be some deeper pieces, some third liners, maybe even someone who should be a third liner but is playing on your second and is a gritty guy.
I still think that they need more of a middle six guy. Or they need Sam
Do you think they're going to get a goal scorer?
I think they need somebody who is like a 15 to 20 goal scorer type who can play in a middle six, who's got all of those qualities, which is why I think Blake Coleman makes so much sense. Yeah, exactly. So
and what Sherwood is kind of projected to do, even though he may not.
Maybe just this year, right? Exactly. Like I think that he'll be fine for the rest of the year, and that will happen, and he'll be fine for the Sharks. But I don't know who else that would make sense to me other than Blake Coleman. The only other player that I would even really consider is Nazem Kadri, and that's another one that makes a lot of sense to me. It's similar to Blake Coleman, but a little bit more expensive, and he's got a little bit more of a temper, which could be a good thing in the playoffs. And
right.
But he's on the older side. He's won a Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. He's got that grit that you're talking about. He can score goals. He's a 20 to 30 goal scorer. The thing that I don't like about that though is he's got 3 years left, 4 years left on a $7 million deal. Like you make that move, and then you can pretty much kiss Jason Robertson goodbye. You're trading Jason Robertson if you get Nazem Kadri.
Right, or you're trying to flip Kadri the very next season, and you're going to get fleeced because everyone's going to know you can't afford him
because you're trying to keep Robo. Right,
right. So, yeah, the Kadri one, the player, you're correct. The player makes sense. If we can find a Nazem Kadri who is not Nazem Kadri, that would be fantastic. But that contract is just not going to work for the Stars, and it's not Shell, so you're not going to be able to sign him with 50% retained with 1 year and then flip him the next offseason and get a decent value. Like that just wouldn't really happen. It's not practical.
Yeah, it really isn't.
I mean, my ideal before the Anderson trade is like, hey, let's get Anderson, Coleman, and Kadri. Let's wrap it all up. We'll take care of your whole trade deadline, Calgary Flames. What do you want?
I mean, there's some other interesting names on here, Chris. I'm just kind of looking at some random trade boards, but like, Alex Tuck, that really intrigued me, but there is no way he's going anywhere right now.
If the Sabres have a sniff, they're not giving anything away.
And honestly, I don't blame them considering they have not made the playoffs in a decade and a half. Oh, that's an interesting one that I hadn't considered. Well, there's two other names, and then we can wrap it up, Chris. Sorry. Vinny Trocheck. So someone who will be on Team USA instead of Robo, which I still think is crazy. And another one that I don't think this one makes sense, but I think it would be really cool, is Steven Stamkos. What do you think?
No. I mean, the way that all those guys went to Nashville and rolled over, it
Crazy.
doesn't seem like they're the same players, and that doesn't add the grit factor that we're talking about with all these other guys that they do bring. I mean,
I think
he'll add a lot of
Trocheck
skill.
does.
No, Trocheck does. I'm saying
yes.
The last one you said, the Tampa Bay Lightning 91 guy. Stamkos does not.
He's not even on the Lightning anymore, and he's just like Tampa guy.
No, he's still on the Lightning.
He's still on the Lightning.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm falling in love with the name more so than the player he currently is right now. But I mean, Duchesne needs someone to pass to, and Stamkos needs somebody to pass him the puck. So I don't think that would be a good combo, but it would be fun. So I guess with where we're at, we're Blake Coleman and Zach
Coleman just seems so
Whitecloud.
likely. It's just the Coleman thing is more like why hasn't happened yet, almost. Like, are the Flames really holding out that hard for it? Because I don't know who really. I mean, Coleman's a solid player, but he's not. I mean, he's not someone you're gonna sell the farm for,
And I mean, Vinny Trocheck really does intrigue me a little bit too. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I don't think he's on an expiring deal. Oh no, he's got a lot more.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
he's got 5.625 for this year and the next 3 years after that.
Yeah, that one doesn't really make sense. I haven't seen him on any other trade boards, so I mean, maybe someone just threw it on there after the Rangers did that letter. They're like, we're going to trade everybody on the Rangers then.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, try to Matt Rempe. There you go. That's who we need.
There you go. Go grab Matt Rempe.
Can you imagine him being on the team after what he did to Miro? That'd be hilarious. Okay, Chris, we got to wrap it up. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
If you want to see what AHL players the Stars might be able to use in a trade, you can check out my trade bait article on 100 Degree Hockey. And then if you also want to check out what the ramifications of Kolyachonok coming back to Texas is going to be, that'll come out tomorrow. You can see that on 100degreehockey.com. Ad free. Read now.
There you go, Chris. You're gonna be the call up.
I'll die.
When's the last time you went skating?
Dude, I'm telling you, I got no time. I didn't get I left. It was dark. I got home. Dark again.
Oh man. Okay.
And everyone knows you can't skate at night. It's impossible.
Right.
You can't see.
Well, watch tomorrow morning happen and the Stars trade for Coleman and Whitecloud both. And this whole episode is just like, or at least half of the episode is just like, already outdated. It always seems like that happens. So, all right. Thank you everybody who's listening live. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook, promo code THPN. If you're listening on the audio side, please leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. If you're here on YouTube and you're watching, whether it's live or later, click like and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, still trying to get there. We are very, 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 very close. And it gets me very excited to know that we've got such a huge audience that's willing to listen to a couple of, Dallas, Texas boys talk about hockey. So alongside Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. And we'll be back with you guys once again very, very soon. Go Stars.